With new McValue at McDonald's, you get more than you expect for breakfast. Like buy a sausage burrito and add a sausage McMuffin for $1. Get more than you expect with new McValue at McDonald's.
Prices and participation may vary. Valid for item of equal or lesser value.
Craving your next action-packed adventure? Audible delivers thrills of every kind on your command. Like Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir, where a lone astronaut must save humanity from extinction. Narrated with stunning intensity by Ray Porter. From electrifying suspense and daring quest to spine-tingling horror and romance in far-off realms, unleash your adventurous side with gripping titles that'll keep you guessing. Discover exclusive Audible originals, hotly anticipated new releases, and must-listen bestsellers that hook you from the first minute. Because Audible knows there's no greater thrill than the one that speaks to you. Discover what lies beyond the edge of your seat. Start your free 30-day trial at audible.com/WonderyUS. That's audible.com/WonderyUS.
We see you getting after your fitness goals. But what about those money goals? You can count on Credit Karma for a clear view of your finances and your progress, helping you see results so you can keep checking off those financial personal bests and find your way to money. Progress never felt so good. Download the Intuit Credit Karma app and start achieving your money goals today. Intuit Credit Karma. Karma you can count on.
This episode brought to you by the following patrons. Oh my God, she's back again. Leaf Girl. Leaf Girl's the second one. They're not the same name. Min, Jason, Madeline, Alyssa, Vixen, Holly, Laura, Jeremy with the laser eyes, Allie, Logan, Libby, Kristen, Tia, and Jonathan. And all the patrons want you to know you're loved, you're listened to, and you're a valuable member of this awesome Horror Virgin community. And if you want to hang out with us, do so in the Facebook group where we'll be hanging out daily. Paige, I am at a work conference. I just had to do a mandatory fun dinner with some people. And I, during that dinner, went to the bathroom. Immediately when I get in the bathroom, I hear someone aggressively shitting, and then that person's phone ring and him answer the phone thusly. Hello, doctor.
No! Hello, doctor. It's bloody, and thanks for taking my call at such a late hour.
Paige, I didn't even go to the bathroom. I washed my hands and left. I just what is the quickest way I can get out of here and not make it seem like I was grossed out by all of that?
I thought I was going to have the great gross out story with my haunted rat vacation, but I think you win.
I'll reserve judgment until I hear your story.
Thank you for tuning into Horror Virgin. I'm Paige.
And I'm your Horror Virgin Todd, which means I don't like scary movies, but you guys make me watch them. And this week, Paige made us watch
Hello Mary Lou. It's Prom Night 2.
So, Paige, was this the first time you had seen this, I think, masterpiece?
It indeed was. I had heard rumors of the madness of this film for years.
Yeah.
And I knew it was sequel month. And I knew how much you loved Prom Night 1. And I was like, you know what? Let's do it. Let's take the plunge.
You know what's funny is when I was watching this, I was like, I guess we don't need to see the first one because we're just starting this franchise with Prom Night 2 because it's all new characters. Nobody, I don't think anyone reprises a role from the first movie. So it doesn't matter at all, even though, yes, I do know we've done Prom Night. I was there for that. But it just doesn't seem like at all they're related at all.
No.
Do they take place at the same high school?
Yeah, I guess. This to me seemed like they took a different movie that was about prom night and we're like, just put 2 on the end of it.
100%. Yeah, that's all this is. But yeah.
Yes.
But Paige, what were your thoughts when you saw it tonight?
After experiencing potentially a ghost on my vacation for the last few days, I was a little triggered.
Okay, so is Mary Lou a ghost? Is it a ghost or is it a possession?
I feel like it's a ghost that's possessing someone, which is not normally what a ghost does. Here's what's sad.
Okay.
I got through about half this movie and I was like, this doesn't seem nearly as crazy as people said it was going to be.
Oh, really?
And boy, did I speak too soon.
Yeah, you did. This movie goes full substance at the end. It's a little crazy.
It's nuts.
But in a great way. In a great way.
Look, no, I'm not here to critique a movie that is, I'll say it, perfect. But I did feel like a lot was stolen from Carrie, which I do think is a better movie.
You're only saying that because it was the plot that was stolen from Carrie.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not actually. Like,
plot.
there are some, like, nuanced differences, but, like, it's a lot Carrie, guys.
It's a lot of Carrie.
Except...
Michael Ironside?
Yeah. Tom Cruise's boss or whatever from Top Gun brought a gun when he should have brought a bucket of blood, but yeah.
I got up from watching this because Jake had to go to the airport. He's flying home. I'm still in the Bay for a week. And he was like, what did you think? Because Jake had seen this many times. He was like, the end is incredible. And I got up and I was like, I feel like Michael Ironside should only be in movies where he gets to be furious.
I mean, yeah.
Because his face is built for fury. Never have I seen someone whose face looks so weird when it's not mad.
I mean, I did think at one point he was not going to shoot Vicky, but he was going to make her fly cargo planes full of rubber dog shit.
I mean,
as a punishment.
I was just waiting for his head to explode, Scanner style. That's my favorite Michael Ironside. And I'm sad whenever it doesn't happen.
Yeah, if his dome isn't popping, I'm out.
Right?
I do like that they make Mary Lou like a Pandora's box.
Yes.
But that Pandora's box is also the collector's box, which I was like, hang on.
It's a steamer trunk, but then when it pops open, it's got comedy and tragedy where it's just like, what if the drama department was evil, like the fruits of the devil?
Paige, they are always evil, and that's why they're the best.
Jellicle, proms with Jellicle cats, like, you know.
Oh, at least pick an actual musical. Paige, the thing that made me the most sad about this movie is I was like, the school funding in the 80s was insane. They had a dance class. They had like a pottery class.
An art pottery studio.
It was insane. All my high school offered was like dodgeball, a lot of fights, and trauma.
See, now granted, my mom taught at our high school. That's part of why we got to go to the private high school we did. But I took pottery. We did not have dance, but for religious reasons, because our school took place in the city from Footloose. And then we did have a drama department that it was like a local theater had like gone out of business or something. And so we inherited a bunch of their costumes. So we had a costume room like the one in this movie.
This costume room has more capes than like Liberace's closet.
Oh my God.
It's an insane amount of capes.
So many sequins, multiple chandeliers that are just like hastily hung so they could fall on people at dramatic moments.
I think if it's more than one, it's Chandelier. I don't know. Actually, I think Chandelier is a new artist I heard about. We'll talk about it later, Paige.
I think it's chandeliers like lumineers.
All of this is made up. Please don't Google any of it. We're just too far into the bit.
Jellicle chandeliers and they fall. I just miss my cat.
I do love that, like, in the first 5 minutes of this movie, they make Mary Lou, like, terrible.
Oh my God. She is such a villain. I was like, is she a demon while she's also a human? Good Lord.
I mean, yeah, so I do think this movie has a lot of points to make about, like, unrestrained femininity and the terribleness that can occur because of it. But I honestly don't know if it's being ironic.
I don't know. But she's also a trash person.
Oh, yeah, no, I know. But when she becomes the ghost or the possession or whatever, she really just like represents sort of unrestrained feminine energy, more or less.
Right. Girls banging whoever they want, aspiring to shit, having dreams.
Yeah, talking back,
wanting crowns.
Being assertive, whatever, yeah.
But she's also just like unrelentingly hurting the people around her in the process.
Have you never met a teenage girl, Paige?
Look, hey, I feel like you can be a lot of those things without being a fucking monster to people, and they do not do that in this movie.
All I remember was I was a monster at that age.
I was
so
not.
I honestly don't know if women were. I was.
I was just walking around being like, when I moved to Los Angeles, it's over for you hoes. And like, you know, that's monstrous in its own way.
And if you look at the scoreboard behind Paige currently, hoes are still at 0. So
Paige still kind of at 0, but in a different location.
Trying to get to 1. Yeah, we're like 3/4 of the way to flipping one of them over.
Like 0.5.
It's good that we can acknowledge that. I did think it was wild that, like, if it was today, Jess wouldn't have died. That's all I'm saying.
Well, if it was today, she may still have died. If it was 5 years ago, she'd probably still be with us.
No, Paige, because 5 years ago, they had the same abortion laws they did in 87 when this movie came out.
That's true. 87, she had more rights.
Yeah. Like if this was today, she would have been on the first Greyhound bus to a state with more reproductive rights and wouldn't even have gone back to the school.
Yeah, probably.
So like, who's the real villain? A ghost or I guess the pro-life movement?
I'm still going to say a ghost.
Yeah. Probably a ghost. That's fair. Yeah, probably a ghost.
Probably a ghost.
I did think that like Josh as a character excels.
I liked his outfits.
Yeah, in so many ways. His outfits are one of those ways, Paige.
Oh, yeah.
Honestly, like in my mind, I was like, this is Doc Brown from Back to the Future's like nephew. It is like so.
It's Ducky.
Oh, shit. Yeah,
it's
yeah,
Ducky
yeah,
from Pretty in Pink.
Yeah,
like,
that works.
But that's just one more thing that's stolen for this movie from other movies.
Well, I'm not sure there is an original thought in this movie outside of the original thought to steal a bunch and then put it in maybe a slightly different order. But like, listen, it stole all of the fun shit from the movies I like of this time. And it makes me like this movie. So I'm not mad at it. I actually, so Paige, like this is the first time I saw it. I really did enjoy it. It was like silly and fun. And it wasn't that scary, although there was one jump scare that got me. And it was like, well, we'll talk about it when we get there. I don't want to spoil it. But it's like the only real jump scare in the movie. But it just like got me because it had been so not serious up until that point. And then out of nowhere, it's like this jump scare. Anyway, I screamed like a girl at midnight last night while watching this movie in my hotel room. So here we are. And now I am shouting at the adjoining neighboring wall. So.
Well, I also love that earlier you texted me, you're like, I can't record till like 6:30 your time, but I have to talk about it.
I know.
And I'm like, yeah, okay.
Paige, there's like so much in this movie. I couldn't believe anything that was happening on that plastic horse in her room, Paige. Like,
oh, Blucifer? I didn't realize her room was in the Denver airport.
Okay, they call him Blucifer because famously he's blue. They're both clearly haunted, though. Like, guys, Google Blucifer. It's like nuts.
Later when she's like playing with its tongue, and I'm like, girl, what?
Honestly, if you had a sexual sentient horse, you might do that. And honestly, I've met a few horse girls, and they're like, I don't know that they wouldn't be into it. Horse girls, chime in. Let me know. Do you want to get up in Mr. Ed's gums, I guess is my question?
No, I don't think so. I know a handful of horse girls. One of my best friends is a horse girl, and I don't think that's a part of it.
Oh, no. The second I threw it out there to the horse girls, like they were all like, nay.
Nay.
So it's fine, Paige. I get it. It's fine.
It, like the thought reached Andrea Gazzetta across the state right now, and she was like,
joining us live in studio.
That's as good of a horse sound as I can make. Count it out. Count out the DMs that Todd's going to get from horse girls.
Can't wait. Tell me about how you braid their hair. That's like, I actually really do love the braiding the hair like stuff.
I think that's most of it. I don't think it's tongues. I think it's the hair playing.
100%. But the hair was all plastic in the movie, so they had to find something else to play with. And I hated that choice they made.
Oh, boy. And then it had lizard eyes. Like, what the fuck? What the fuck is that thing?
It's my favorite Patrick Swayze song about the movie
Dirty Dancing?
Independence Day? Not Independence Day. Men in Black. About the movie Men in Black.
What?
Lizard eyes.
Oh.
I saw you blinking. It was in reverse. It was gross.
Lizard eyes.
Exactly. What is wrong with us?
I mean, so much.
So many things.
But not nearly as much as wrong with this movie.
There's nothing wrong with this movie. How dare you? First off, the only thing wrong with this movie is there's not an immediate third I can watch. Although there probably is, and it's probably not as good. But still, Paige, because of this movie, I have a new ambition in life.
Okay.
And that is to die, be buried, and then one day have someone approach my grave and whisper to themselves, what do you want?
What do you want?
I thought that shit was so funny that she asked a grave, what do you want?
Okay, and then cue up the grave so that whenever somebody does that and it recognizes the words like Siri, it just goes, I want it all, I want it all, and I want it now. Boom. Like, that'd be incredible.
And that's when the headstone explodes.
Yeah. Yes.
When Michael, is it Michael Ironside that kisses Mary Lou at the end? It is, right?
It is. It is.
Paige, all I know is if I kissed a ghost so bad their headstone exploded, I would want you to shoot me in the back of the head. That's so embarrassing.
What? No, if I kissed a ghost so good that their headstone exploded, give me a trophy.
I do think it's funny that, like, our brains are toxic for different reasons, and mine spun to the most negative, and yours spun to the most positive on that joke, but we both made a joke about it.
Because I feel like if I exploded your headstone, I'm like, I woke you all the way back up, baby.
If you got enough tricks to make a headstone explode, that's wife material right there. That's all I'm saying.
Look, if that's what I did to a marble headstone, what am I going to do to them panties?
Hopefully not marble them, although I don't know.
I mean, yeah, is that the reverse, that the panties become marble because I destroyed the headstone? I have so many questions. The mythology is unclear, but I do want it to play that song when it happens.
Yes.
I want it all. It'd be so metal. Okay, Todd.
What's up?
Just like I have promised to bake Mikey into a lasagna and feed it to people when he dies, I need you, as the one who is probably going to outlive us all, given the amount of cheese we eat.
Paige, I'm already like 9 times your age.
I know. But I need you to make sure that even though I'm going to be cremated, we trick everyone into thinking I have a headstone just so we can explode it and play I Want It All.
I will only do that if after it happens, I'm allowed to step out from behind a tree and creepily walk up to them as an old man. And if I'm not old at the time, I will be wearing makeup.
Of course.
And then just like hand them a treasure map to nowhere.
Yes!
That just says like Paige's booty on it. And then I disappear.
Yes.
So yes, Paige. Yes, and
yes,
I will do that.
Thank you. I appreciate your service. Thank you so much.
But Paige, maybe we should just go through this movie scene by glorious scene.
Yes, we should. It opens with credits that told me that Michael Ironside was in this, and I was like, "Duh, what?" And then I found out that the director of photography's name was John Herzog, and I was like, then picturing this movie as narrated by Werner Herzog.
See, I pictured it as Mikey pretending to be Werner Herzog.
Yeah, it's a me, Werner Herzog.
Exactly. I also thought when I saw Michael Ironside's name on this movie, I was like, oh, this is what Michael Ironside was doing before Top Gun. And then I checked IMDb and Top Gun came out a year before this movie.
I was going to say, I was like, you mean after Top Gun?
Yeah, this is after for sure. This movie came out 2 years after Back to the Future and a year after Top Gun. And I'm not saying that like Michael Ironside's career tanked or whatever. I'm just saying like there's a crazy different quality of movies there.
I mean, imagine with me for a moment, Tom.
If you will.
If you were in one of the most famous movies of all time, and then you were like, what am I going to do next? And it was this.
I'd honestly probably be like, thank God I can get my SAG insurance this year. But
real.
But honestly, like, if I was Tom Cruise's boss in Top Gun and then was in this, I might be a little sad about it, but like he reached a very high level of acting, so good for him. I'm sure he's happy with what he achieved.
I would be. This is before Scanners, I believe. Let me double check on that. 1981. So actually, this is after Scanners.
Yeah, I thought Scanners was before them all.
Yeah, 81.
But I haven't seen Scanners. I know what it is because his head blows up, and of course people have like I saw that as a GIF the first time I saw it. Honestly, like on Twitter or some shit.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I mean, how are you ever going to top that? You just got to start doing Prom Night movies.
I mean, yeah. I
also, during the credits, it panned across a crucifix. And in my notes, I just have, oh, Jesus is in this?
Paige, he's not. Just a heads up.
No.
He's not.
He's not. But we open with probably one of my favorite cold opens I've seen in a long time.
Paige, I wrote down every word of it. That's how much I loved it.
I loved it so much. And I'll let you read it if you want. But essentially, she comes in for confession and says,
I've disobeyed my parents many times. I've taken the Lord's name in vain many times. I've had sinful relations with boys at my school. Many boys, many times. Father, there's one more thing. And then he responds with, what's that, my poor child?
Yeah, because he's like, this is not good.
I know. He's like, I mean, you should be here. This is a lot of sins to confess at once, ma'am. And he like leans in as she says, Father, there's one more thing. And he says, what is that? And she goes, I loved every minute of it. It's like the best open ever. I was like, shit, I love Mary Lou. And then she immediately is the worst person ever.
Yeah, but she does write on the inside of the confessional in lipstick.
Yeah.
For a good time. Call Mary Lou. And then her phone number, I was like,
yeah, it's like 867-5309 or whatever.
Bitch doing the most. Okay.
I know.
Anyway, we do see a steamer trunk and opening titles. It's unclear about what that steamer trunk is or why it's important, but we're going to find out momentarily because we cut to the prom in 1957. And she's holding hands with her boyfriend, Billy, who has given her a ring. A very cool ring that has her name, her initials ML, Mary Lou, on it, which is pretty fun.
Yeah.
And she's like, thanks for the ring, Billy. And he's like, I'm going to get us some punch. She's like, okay. And then he like turns around to get punched. And by the time he turns around, she gone. And she backstage.
Paige, by the time he turns around, she's cheating on him.
Yeah, she's a few inches deep into that other guy that becomes a priest later.
Yes. I legit was like, hang on, is that her boyfriend? Like, what is happening? Like, I have no idea how this went from zero to fuckfest. Like, what is going on?
Well, and then he like, her Billy comes back with the punch and he's like, where's Mary Lou? And they're like, what did you guys break up? Because I'm pretty sure she's 3 fingers deep in that guy backstage. Like, what the fuck? And he's like, we didn't break up. What? And he goes back there and he's like, come on. And then Mary Lou acts like he's weird.
Yeah.
For being upset. Because he's like, we've been pinned for a year. You never let me get this far. And she's like, boo, loser. Let's go back out to the prom. And it's like, girl, what?
Yeah.
Not even an ounce of shame.
Well, and she says a ton of shit to the guy she's like making out with and like fooling around with about like how,
right.
Oh, he's just like the rich boy I'm going to marry. So my life is great.
Right.
Like she's like immediately the worst.
The worst. She's
but Paige,
the
like,
worst.
who hasn't been in that situation where like you're like at a bar and you're like, hey, I'm gonna go get a drink, and then you come back and your significant other's having sex with somebody else? Like that's how fast it happens. It's insane.
Couldn't be me. Has never been me. But oof, magoof, is it bonkers in this movie?
It's crazy.
She goes back out to prom. By the way, a lot of people at prom, because she's now with the new guy, they all know. They're like,
oh yeah,
they just had sex, like backstage.
Paige, she sent, did you not get her fax?
Oh yeah.
Like it was 87. Everyone had faxes, right? That was the thing?
57. This is 57.
Did you not get her message in the mail?
Mimeograph?
This won't give us cancer.
Anyway, so she finds out that she won prom queen and she's like, yes! And she gets up to the stage and she's just like posing like, of course I'm your queen. Bow to your queen.
I love how they make no attempt at naming a king.
Not at all.
It's just like, yeah, that's the queen and no one cares about anything else. So that's it.
No. And Billy, her boyfriend, who will grow up into Michael Ironside, went to the bathroom to look at his hairline that is somehow 40 years older than him.
Paige, the whole school dance is like, there's just so much voiceover and receding hairlines. It's all that.
Yeah.
Like everyone is playing a 40-year-old pretending to be a high schooler.
Yep.
Yeah.
However, he overhears people about to put a stink bomb in one of the toilets. They ditch it in the trash can. He picks it up. He then climbs the catwalk above where they've announced Queen, Carrie style, lights the stink bomb, drops it. It catches Mary Lou's dress on fire. The entire room watches as this woman burns alive. No one tries to help.
Paige, what were they supposed to do? There wasn't a band, so like they needed entertainment.
Oh man.
I did, Paige. Okay, so I thought they said stick bomb.
Oh.
And I thought he legit, when he threw it, I thought it was going to explode. So like when he started screaming because it set her on fire, I was like, you were just trying to blow her up. Why are you upset? Like
right.
It is doing what you wanted. And then I was like, okay, maybe I missed something. I never wound it. I was like, oh, it's a stink bomb. Okay. Oh
Stink
God. Okay.
bomb.
That makes so much sense now. out. Yeah, I thought he legit threw dynamite at her at first.
I mean, for the amount of damage it does, it may as well. But she dies, and then we see that steamer trunk again, as if we're supposed to know why or what. And a piece of skull is next to it, ostensibly her own skull.
Yeah, I think that's what that is, right?
It was fucking nuts.
Well, and it's Michael Ironside's trunk, like.
Yeah, I guess.
So he's keeping a piece of her skull?
Here's a question I have for you, Todd. Because at some point, someone is going to question how this woman caught on fire and burned alive in a room full of people. At which point they're going to find the stink bomb. And so is someone else in prison for her murder?
No, it was 1957. No. And he's like a middle-class white. No. Yeah. They were probably just it's probably one of those really bad cases, spontaneous combustions, guys. She just got overly excited. You know how women get when they win shit. So she just exploded out of happiness. Honestly, it's a good way to go. Wrap it up, boys. No, there's no crime here.
Lady problems. It was the friction from between her legs that caught her skirt on fire. And what were we to do? Because literally Michael Ironside, full-blown murder death, kills this lady and then is just walking around later in his life everything's fine. Don't look too hard at the steamer trunk in the school.
Paige, he keeps trophies. And he is the principal of the school 30 years later. Yeah. This dude, I think, was fine with it. That's all I'm saying. I think he was she had it coming. That's what she gets for cheating on me. And I'm not saying that she did, but I think that's how he felt about it.
I mean, I'm going to say she did. Not that she had it coming. She did cheat on him, though. So oh,
no, we see that.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Anyway, we cut to the 80s where this one girl is hey, I want to go buy a dress for prom later. And Carrie's mom is no, the Lord doth saith no dresses thou shalt have. And you're what the fuck is this about?
Oh, I'm sorry. Have you not read RuPaul chapter 9, verse 6?
And thou shalt serve from the costume department.
As for me and my house, we shall serve cunt.
Oh, I love that.
That's the best sticker I found at Under the Cover in Kansas City. It was so funny.
Before we found that sticker, I had written into the pilot I'm submitting, a character wears a t-shirt that says, as for me and wine house, we will serve Merlot. And I was kicking myself that I didn't just put cunt in there for fun.
It's funny.
But,
By the way, when you say this girl, who you're referring to is Vicky, the now main actress in the movie.
Right, Vicky. And Vicky's dad is yeah, you could buy a dress. And her mom is no. And you're what's going on in the bedroom here?
I think the mom knows the dad is a little lusty for his daughter. It was weird.
Here's the thing. I don't think he is. I think he's being a good dad. And I think later she initiates because she's possessed and it's gross. But then he keeps it going. And that's really weird.
Yes,
that's really gross.
Yes. Yeah. He should have definitely been what is happening? Get off of me.
What the fuck is happening? Stop it. Yes.
If your daughter kisses you, you don't lean in.
Yeah, it's
Anyway, the mom is also terrible, but
unless he tasted the inside of her mouth and was Mary Lou, because they did go to the same high school.
And listen, I'm not saying she deserved what happened to her, but Paige, you are saying she was loose, is what you're saying. In the parlance of the time, she was a loose woman.
I'm going to say she was Mary Loose.
Woo! Gotta watch out for the Mary Lucy's.
Gotta. Anyway, so it seems like her mom is mad about Vicky's boyfriend who rides a motorcycle, but also he seems cool as fuck.
Oh, does he, Paige?
Yeah.
He seems like a big douche and a stupid nerd because you know why?
Why?
Because he can't really fly. Anyway, sorry, that's kind of a... hang on.
Do you mean... because he's not the cool writer from Grease 2?
Yes.
Okay, but...
Thank you.
Todd.
Paige.
Do you remember how... And I realized we didn't talk about this on the Cool Writer episode, but it did come up in the Facebook group after. Do you remember how at the end of Grease 2, they're showing all the yearbook photos, and they show a photo of the Cool Writer in Motorcycle Heaven, and you're wait a second, that happened in Michelle Pfeiffer's dream. Why would there be a yearbook photo of it? That's this whole movie.
Yeah. 100%. And I love it. There's a lady in this movie, actually it's Vicky, the character we're just talking about right now, who gets hit so hard with a volleyball, she gets sent into the ghost realm. Like, there's nothing wrong with this movie.
Yeah, she goes to the upside down.
Yes, it's amazing.
Oh, God. Anyway, she gets on the motorcycle. She and Craig, her boyfriend, go to drink coffee as if they're grown-ups. Weird.
They're high school seniors, Carrie's mom. Calm down. Like, you can get a Starbucks on your way to school, although on a motorcycle might be difficult. Is he holding one with one hand and she's holding it with the other and they're both sharing the handlebars?
Or she's holding both and not holding on. Like,
she's like sitting facing backwards and holding her arms around them with their coffees.
Yes.
Man, this is the kind of shit like that needs to be answered in a sequel.
I got one answer for you. COOLRIDER.
It all comes back to the cool writer.
It all comes back to the cool writer. This is where we find out that she's nominated for prom queen.
Of course she is. But there's also someone else in contention.
Right.
And this person really wants it. They really want to win.
Kelly, they really want it.
Yeah.
But this is also where he gives her a cross necklace.
This is, okay. If you want to actually like talk about this movie as like a metaphor for like what happens when a girl embraces her femininity and starts to like experience life, right? And like the terrible things, and that was in very big air quotes, that happened because a woman gains sexuality or whatever. Like, right. I do think that the beginning of this movie is just showing how truly innocent their relationship is.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
They are very sweet. Like, he's buying her like it's like a very coded as like, they're both religious and conservative and like,
and
they
sweetheart.
Probably barely hold hands and stuff. And even though they hold hands, her mom is so conservative that is too much.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, but this is all to like juxtapose it against the end when she like becomes a woman, you know?
Right. I mean, well, it's trying to do what Carrie does so much better.
Oh, does Carrie play on these themes? Interesting.
I had no idea. Didn't think about it.
Yeah.
Are you feeling stuck in your career or lacking employment at the moment? Experiencing symptoms of job dissatisfaction? You might be suffering from a common condition known as career stagnation. But don't worry, there's a solution. Monster.com. Monster.com offers a comprehensive suite of career-boosting tools designed just for you. Our free resume review and AI interview prep tool will help you stand out from the crowd. Need more guidance? Dive into our career advice articles for expert tips and insights. And don't forget to check out our salary tools to ensure you're getting paid what you're worth. Side effects may include a new job, increased confidence, and a brighter future. Consult Monster.com today and take the first step towards your new career. Ready for your next job opportunity? Visit Monster.com now.
But we cut to the high school, the same high school from before, where we enter on Josh's school project, which is fucking insane. And I love it so much. I just have in all caps, who is Josh?
Paige, I knew the second he almost tongue banged a spud that I was going to love this character, because he like gets really close to the potato and it like sticks his tongue out on it. Like he's like really in love with it.
I mean, my favorite is he's like, what is a potato? Is it a fruit? Is it a radio? I was like, oh, this is my kind of guy.
And you know what, Paige? It's both. That's what he's proving in that.
Fucking both.
And not only is he like an inventor, right? Some say a magician, dare I say genius, Paige?
Yes.
I think he's also Emmett Brown's nephew. I do. I think they gotta be related. It's real young Emmett Brown energy, and I loved it.
My favorite one is he's like, I tried avocados first, tried to make a guacamole radio, but I only got stations in Mexico.
Honestly, I bet it would taste delicious. Have you never heard Squawkamole radio, Paige? It slaps.
I'm just picturing him plugging like the little clamps into an avocado and just hearing like intense mariachi music, like like hardcore.
They're like, how did we get this station in Michigan?
Oh man. Oh God. And his project doesn't work. For what a wonderful speech. It didn't work. But my favorite is he sits down next to her and her friend, Vicky and her friend, whose name I don't remember. It's not Jess. Jess is the other one. This is the not Jess friend. Jess is only inserted for dramatic effect.
Yeah.
But her friend is like, no one ever asks me to prom. No one's asked me out. And the guy behind her's like, can I see you after school? And she's like, shut up, nerd. one asks me out.
Okay, Paige.
So funny.
I literally wrote that down word for word because I found it so like very comedically funny, but also like very perfectly written. Because it was like, I'm 18 and super hot. Why don't I have a date?
Right.
And then he says, excuse me, could I speak to you after school? And she goes, buzz off, asshole. And then immediately turns around and says, why does nobody ever ask me out? And it's just like an immediate, like she's so oblivious to how she treats people. It was so funny.
It's so hysterical. But then we cut to the principal's office where we meet Craig's dad, the principal, Bill. Turns out Bill is Billy, who used to date and / murdered Mary Lou.
Yes.
And they're having the typical, like, why don't you want to go to college? Dad, I want to take a gap year. I don't want you to throw away your future.
Yeah, but we come to find out their plan because Vicky is dating this kid, right?
Right.
Craig.
Right.
Right. So it's like they're both going to take a gap year because Vicky has a similar conversation with her parents later.
Right. But we cut to Vicky talking to Jess. We have not met Jess before this moment. Jess is dressed like she's a Tim Burton character in real life. And I'm not going to explain that any further. Just know that I'm right.
Paige, can I just read you what I wrote down when I saw her?
Yes.
This lady is styled like the 80s got syphilis so long ago that it's definitely impacting their brain. And I mean that as a compliment. Like, I think she looks awesome, but it's like someone took the 80s and like scrambled it up and then like made that person stick their fingers in an electrical socket.
Oh, yeah. No, it looks like she was the best dressed girl at school with the worst reputation from St. Bernadette. She's the best dressed girl in school that also has to go to electroshock therapy at lunch every day. Like, that's what it looks like is going on. How her hair defies gravity like that, only Elphaba could say.
It's wicked, though. It is wicked.
It's wicked. But Jess cryptically is like, I have to go to the doctor. She's like, why? And she's like, I don't know, just a checkup. And I was like, pregnant. It's like the coughing into it. It's like, do you want to cough into a handkerchief and show us the picture of the gal you left behind? Pregnant.
Paige, had she coughed it into a handkerchief,
she might still be with us.
She wouldn't be in this predicament. Yeah. So like all I'm saying, consider it, you know?
Woo! Anyway, we cut to listening to Kelly, who is one of the other potential hopefuls for prom queen.
This is the one who's really going after it. Like,
yes.
Out of all of Vicky's friends, and this really isn't a friend, but like this is the other character you should like remember this person's name because it'll come back.
Conservatively, there are 10 students at this school until the end when there are 110 students at this school.
Yeah.
But this is one of the 10. And she's like, oh, I have a great prom dress. What about you, Vicky? Because I think she knows that Vicky is either poor or her mom has bad style or both.
It's not that. It's that they're like super religious or maybe not even religious, but conservative, whatever it is.
Yeah.
They're like, I mean, when she dresses so scandally that people in school are like, have you seen Vicky? I think something's wrong with her.
Right,
she looks like a 1995 housewife. Like she doesn't look sexy, really.
It's not that she dressed sexy and do people think there's something wrong with her. It's that she's dressing like it's the 50s.
Well, sure, but like it is more revealing, but it's like not at all like...
But that's only because whoever did the costumes for this movie only gave Vicky 2 shirts and 2 pairs of pants. And this movie takes 2 weeks and they just interchange. And by the way, not a single one of Vicky's bottoms fit her well. This movie is wedgie central and I feel bad for that girl because I'm sure she was uncomfortable on set every day.
Probably.
She got a great butt and they need to cut her pants better to showcase it. But yeah, it's even the underwear they give her. I was like, girl. And I'm sure it was just some pervy costume dude just like hike it up a bit, like whatever, but like anyway,
this is also 87. Like,
yeah,
Lululemon was not a thing.
No, it was more that like the movie tends to shoot her, and it happens so much that I took notes on it from like mid thigh to mid back whenever she's walking down hallways and stuff. So it's just straight on her butt.
Yeah,
and it hungry. She got wedgies the whole time.
Yeah.
The whole time.
That butt gonna eat, Paige.
It gonna eat. It ate.
Yeah.
Anyway, so she tells her friend Jess, before Jess goes to her pregnancy doctor's appointment that's definitely thinly veiled.
Yeah.
She's like, I think I'm going to go hunt through the costumes to see if I can find anything I can wear.
Yeah, because she can't get a new dress because her mom's like, your green dress is fine.
Which I kind of wish we would have saw it. I was curious about the green one. But anyway, she goes to the prop room. where she finds the steamer chest and opens it. Oh no. And finds the crown and the cape, but also finds a blue sequin dress that's going to work perfectly for prom.
Absolutely, she does. Yes. And it does.
Yes, it does. But once she opens the steamer chest, a picture breaks, it shatters, and it's in the principal's office. And you're like, oh, the principal is Billy the murderer. Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Oh my God. But then the chest closes. And Michael Ironside goes to church and he's like about to talk to the priest, and the priest is standing outside because I think he got like a vibe that Mary Lou was back, and Michael Ironside drives away. We cut back to school where there's an art class and dance class in session.
That's where I wrote the note about like, okay, man, schools have been defunded so much since this time.
Yeah, for sure.
Gee, thanks, Reagan.
Because we had pottery wheels and stuff.
Yeah, Paige, you went to private school, baby. Like that's not what we had.
I know. But they're in art, and they're like trying to like see what they're gonna do with the cape and the tiara, and Kelly's like, it's gross. This is blah, like, do the crown for me. Whatever. Shut up, Kelly. You're not even in this. I do love that Jess is just sculpting a giant hand with a cigarette.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't even smoke and I want that sculpture.
I know.
But
it is kind of cool.
They also were like, 57, isn't this the year that girl burned alive? And they're like, yeah, haunted, whatever.
Yeah.
Which is exactly the level of cavalier attitude we expressed at the Airbnb this weekend upon finding the remains of Diane.
I'm sorry. What?
We're blowing through this episode. Do you have 5 minutes to hear about the good news of Diane?
I know I shouldn't, listeners, but yeah, I do.
All right. So the other day we arrive at the Airbnb. And we check in and we're like, oh my God, this Airbnb is so nice. It's so clean. There's like a spa in the back. There's like all these bedrooms. It's air conditioned. There's great kitchen. Wonderful. And then my sister walks into the room that she and her husband were staying in. And it was like, hey, there's a bunch of old ladies' clothes in here. And we're like, what? And also an obituary announcement for the lady whose clothes it looks like they belong to.
What?
And we were like, what? It was at that point that we also noticed that all the clocks were an hour off, probably because no one had stayed there since daylight savings. And my husband, thinking it was funny, was like, Diane, the name of the lady on the obituary, if you're with us, correct the clocks. Like, show us a sign. The clocks were not correct. But we all kind of like, ha, 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 Diane. And then we left the house to go eat a late lunch. And then we came back and we're like, again, this house is so nice. We like took naps. We got up. We're like, man, what should we do for dinner later? I don't know. Like maybe if we go get barbecue. And then my dad was like, I just saw a fucking rat. I just saw a big rat run from the bedroom to the bathroom.
Now we know what killed Diane.
Right? Hantavirus. And so we're like, oh my God, find something to catch the rat. So we like split up across the Airbnb.
You went about like you were a trapper?
Hold up. First of all, I've trapped many rats in my day because I worked in retail. Retail workers know it's fucking full of rats. Anyway, my sister runs out into this like enclosed garage, much like the barbarian basement we found
in our Kansas City one. Yeah.
In our Airbnb in Kansas City, which we haven't talked about on the podcast, but we almost got barbarian to death.
Yeah.
I'm off Airbnb for life now after this. Anyway.
Yeah.
So like
Mother's milk was tasty though.
Yeah, indeed. My sister runs out into Mother's room, aka the extra TV room in the closed off garage. And she's like, I found a rat trap. And we were like, what?
Well, the rat trap ain't trapping.
We're like, also, we hear some stuff in the cabinets.
No.
And we're like, what? And we're like, okay. And then we like come back into the center of the house. We're like, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? There's clearly multiple rats here. Do we go get traps? Do we whatever? And we were like, no.
Oh my God, Paige, we're outnumbered.
Yes. And we were like, I think we just fucking leave. I don't think we try and battle the rats.
Game over, man. Game over. 100%.
Game over, right? And so like we start packing our stuff and packing up all the food we bought to be in the Airbnb. And we're like packing it. And my sister's like putting a bunch of stuff in the trash, goes to take the trash out. And she's like, I just saw the biggest rat I've ever seen in the garage. And we were like, run, like get out of the house. So we like get into the cars, drive away while we're like texting the Airbnb owner guy, be like, hey man, hella rats here. And he's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I will totally refund you and feel free to come back and stay when the rats are gone. We're like, we're going to need some proof, but okay.
Yeah.
So like,
bring me that Rat King's crown.
Bring me the tails of 40 rats. Wear it like a necklace. So we like all get into the car and then just quietly we're just like, little ditty about rat and dying. Also, the guy who owned the Verbo or whatever was named Richard, but we have now started calling him Ratchard.
Oh.
But then we went to a hotel and then went to the aquarium like we planned. But
that's the right way to do it.
Anyway, so we cut to after art class.
Yeah.
And Vicky goes into the bathroom. And surprise, surprise, Jess crying in the bathroom. She's like, I liked this guy, but he won't call me back. And now I'm just full on pregoed up with his Krang baby. And she's just like, oh no. Well, if he won't call you back. And you're like, okay. So she's like, I guess I've got some choices to make. We cut to later at night when the janitor is like, I'm locking up for the night. You lock up after me, Jess. And I'm like, does Jess live in the school? No one would just let a student be in the school at night.
But they do. Like she has keys. I don't know that we ever see her use them, but he does say lock up after you leave. So like, I think she might live there.
Maybe, I don't know. But Jess is like messing with the crown and the cape, but they come to life when she pulls one of the stones out of the crown. And the cape like strangles her and pulls her through a paper cutter, which I thought for sure was going to decapitate her, but no.
It's a great like red herring kill, I guess. But yeah, it was kind of tense.
Yeah, it does hang her from the ceiling fan, and then it throws her body out the window, and then the cape and the crown just replace themselves in the art room. Like, we didn't do it. No fingerprints. I
kind of love this kill because it was like, the fake out with the paper cutter was like interesting because you're like, oh, that's where it's going to go.
Right.
And then it fully like, I'll just say this is what happened to Epstein. Like it was one of these capes and it just got in because who's going to stop a cape?
Right.
But whatever, it strangles her to death. And you're like, oh, that was a cool fake out with the paper shredder. And then it cuts to outside the classroom, like almost like it's an establishing shot. It's going to cut to another scene. And then it's like, no, I have to throw her body out the fucking window.
Yeah.
And it throws her out the window. I was like, good God, that's crazy.
Yes.
But I mean, it was crazy in the service of me laughing. I loved it. It was so great.
I cackled.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, at the church, the priest has a picture of Mary Lou with candles next to it. Insensitive because fire.
I know, right? Fire, guys. Like, wow. I did love that, like, the creators of this movie, I'm going to assume, saw Carrie and they were like, oh, Carrie can do fire? Well, we're going to go ahead and just burn our person immediately. That way, everybody knows that they could win a fight against Carrie because what is Carrie going to do? Slap her?
Yeah,
She's immune to fire.
Yeah, duh. That's her whole deal, right? We watched the movie, right?
I don't know how the lore works, Paige, but I am happy to report I Googled it and there is a Prom Night 3.
Oh, fuck yes. Anyway, meanwhile at the church with the candles fall off the wall and the priest is like, yikes. Like, bad shit's afoot. But we cut back to school the next day where everyone's like, it's Jess. She killed herself. And then ostensibly the funeral is that day.
Yeah.
That day.
That's how quick it is. You got to get him in the ground. Yeah.
Got to get him in the ground. Now, here's what I'll reveal something kind of dark that weirdly, coincidentally enough, came up earlier today in conversation. If a kid dies in senior year this close to prom, usually prom either gets canceled or it becomes a big deal of like a memorial. This happened at my high school, not my prom, but like a few years before me, a senior died on spring break in a hiking accident.
Oh.
And if you think that school wasn't fucking weird for a while and that senior banquet was definitely part memorial service for that guy, it was. So the idea that a student killed themselves at school and they're like, we're still going to have prom next week is madness.
Well, they do say you just gotta get up on that horse every time you fall off and make sure you finger its mouth some. Just like give it a good fish hook.
Yeah. Get up in there, touch that tongue. But I also love that Vicky called it out and was like, seems kind of fucked up that we're still having prom. I was like, yeah Vicky. Yeah, it does.
Hey, like my best friend died like 30 feet from me like last week. Do you guys want to make out?
Yeah, right? Ooh.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I love it.
But as she is walking away from Mary Lou, she walks through the cemetery, or walking away from Jess's funeral. She walks through the cemetery to Mary Lou's grave and just kind of like looks at it and then like leaves. Meanwhile, she gets back to school. She's like, it's weird they're having prom anyway. But Kelly is like, don't care. Sad your friend's dead. When less people going for prom queen. Take a bell for Kel. And you're like, what?
Yeah, it's crazy. Kelly's terrible, guys.
Kelly is terrible. But this is also where we meet Kelly's prom date, who is conservatively 47 years old and wasting away again in Margaritaville. Like, that's what he looks like. Full stop. He wears Hawaiian shirts in every scene. He has the hair of that guy on TikTok that cuts his own hair into bowl cuts. It's bad. It's bad.
Paige, it looks like he drove his high school seniors to the set to be extras in this movie, and they were like, oh my God, can you play this character? Like, he looks fully 45. You're right.
He looks like they get younger and he stays the same age. All right. Like, that is how gross it is.
Yeah, no notes.
Oh, when he tries to make out with her later, it is full gross. Anyway, at this point, we cut to... As Vicky passes Michael Ironside, she just goes, Billy? And you're like, is she possessed yet? What is, I don't know. Unclear.
I think she might be a little possessed, yeah.
A little bit. I feel like he should have been like, that's Mr. to you or something.
That's Mr. Billy.
That's Mr. Billy. Meanwhile, we cut to, in my notes, I accidentally have him as Ducky, but it's Josh.
It is Josh. But I mean, I get the Ducky call. Like,
right?
It's very similar vibes. Yeah.
But they're like, well, maybe should we go to prom together? They're like, I don't know. Meanwhile, they're in the cafeteria and Vicky goes to the sunken place, or like the
upside down.
Upside down. Yeah.
Yeah. Fully the upside down.
Blood fountain, roaches, whole thing. And she ends up making out with a ghost who we never saw because he's like, Mary Lou, I love you. And she's just like, what is happening?
You never see the ghost coming, Paige. You never see the ghost coming. You're like, that was a great date.
Well, but like, I think you don't see a ghost coming because like, is it corporeal to come or?
Wait, are you saying, I'm sorry, hang on. Let me just break down what I think you're saying. Is it, and I guess the question I think you're asking is the way to phrase it. So what you're asking is, what does it sound like when a ghost comes?
No, I'm saying, is there a visual component because they're a ghost? So is it corporeal or is it just kind of like,
and then like mist, like vapor, like evaporates, like steam,
like a Patronus or whatever. Yeah.
Hey, what does your Cumtronus turn into?
I don't know.
Babies in 9 months. That's why I'd never put it anywhere.
I mean, there was an old online joke of like, you so fat your Patronus is a cake. That's still one of my favorites.
Oh my God.
Anyway, she runs into Kelly and Kelly's just like, ew.
I mean, that is not inaccurate.
No.
I mean, that's Kelly's vibe the whole movie.
No, and we cut to Vicky at home putting on lipstick and then being like, oh no, because she sees basically Mary Lou in the mirror.
Yeah, she's starting to be possessed. And really, like, I think she's possessed.
Yeah.
But Mary Lou is starting to take control, I guess is the better way to say it. Yeah.
Yeah. But we cut to her friends walking home. And this is where Josh is like, do you want to be my date for the prom? Or like, we could be at the same place because I got to be there for the computer vote, which is a wild component of this movie, that they're having a brand new vote by computer system. Hysterical.
Which, if you think about the way they would have done that, they have one computer that would have been in a room and people would have been standing outside of that room to come in and press a button on a keyboard and walk out.
Yeah, but also can we talk about the fact that they have one computer and then the best mini fridge I've ever seen?
What, Paige? No, I did not notice the mini fridge.
You didn't notice him open the mini fridge where it looked like a computer on the front and then he just pulled it open and it was a mini fridge?
Yeah, I did. Sorry.
Fucking incredible.
I forgot about that. That was cool as shit.
Anyway, they're going to go. They kiss. It's really cute. We cut to volleyball, completely stolen from Carrie. volleyball in the gym.
And this is the second movie in as many years that Michael Ironside was in that has a famous volleyball scene.
Oh, playing with the boys. My favorite is R.I.P. Val Kilmer.
Yeah.
But as he has passed, an interview that he gave a number of years ago has become popular again, where it says, on a scale of 1 to 10, how homoerotic do you believe the volleyball scene in Top Gun was? And he just goes, 11.
Yeah.
Incredible.
What's your, don't think about it. What's your favorite Val Kilmer movie?
Oh, God. I mean, Real Genius. Is it Real Genius?
That's such a good one, man.
The one where he files it under H for toy. That's a great one.
Yeah.
Honestly, he's great in a lot of things. That's just the one that, as he has passed, has come up in my mind more than anything. No, but also, what's the one, not Hot Shots? Is it Hot Shots?
That's the comedy with Charlie Sheen.
Or Top Secret?
Top Secret,
Top Secret. That's the one.
Yeah.
Top Secret.
That is a great one.
Yeah.
Mine?
Yeah.
The Saint.
Oh, okay.
But I love so many Val Kilmer movies. I love, all the ones you mentioned are amazing.
It's one of those things where if somebody pulled up a list, and maybe I'll do that after this, I'm sure there's a ton on there that I'd be like, oh, fuck, man. I was genuinely sad to hear that he had passed.
Me too. When I heard about it, and because of what's been going on with him health-wise, I sort of expected it soon. Although, it wasn't like I was thinking about it, but when it happened, I wasn't shocked, I guess.
Yeah.
But still sad and bummed out. So I went to his IMDb and I was like, fuck, there are so many bangers from my childhood.
Yes.
It's that he was in, and I just loved him in those movies. Anyway.
God, I should watch Top Secret with my dad.
I know.
Anyway, she has a volleyball upside down thing where she gets caught in a giant net full of spider webs, just like Gwen Stefani warned us about.
Yeah, but it's because Kelly decks her with the volleyball. Yes. Beams her in the face and it knocks her into the upside down. It was so funny.
I played volleyball in high school. That had happened to me a number of times. And one time it hit me so hard, I stopped hearing for a second and was convinced. I was like, there's no way my nose is not broken. And spoiler, my nose was not broken. Magical, man. Some noses can, way more than you think.
I guess.
And Stephanie Anderson had an arm on her. So
way more than you think.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, but we cut to she wakes up and she's like, I'm not Mary Lou.
Which I gotta say before we move on, no one was saying she was Mary Lou, guys. So
no, everyone's like, who the fuck is Mary Lou?
That just happened. She said that into a room full of people. And if we had just had a conversation page about how in 1957 a lady named Mary Lou was set on fire immediately after being named prom queen, I would have questions as to why you woke up saying that.
Right.
Nobody gives a shit. Everyone's like, yeah, we know you're not Mary Lou. We're moving about our day.
Yeah, whatever.
It's so funny to me.
It's wild. But Michael Ironside is in the costume department and he's like, the chest is open. No. And he closes it, which makes me believe he trapped her spirit in the chest.
Yes, Paige. I think he has the amulet of Dom Kaya or whatever.
Something.
From Chucky, from Child's Play or whatever. And he's transferred her soul into the skeleton, into the closet. Well, and the tiara, right? Because the tiara is definitely part of it.
Right.
Yeah.
But we cut to Vicky's house where she's like, I fainted. And her mom's like, she needs to spend time with the Lord. No guests. And I was like, okay.
Which that's kind of Vicky's fault, because when she gets home after being physically assaulted at school by a rival who's up against her for prom queen, she doesn't tell her mom, yeah, Kelly, this bitch at school hit me in the face with a volleyball.
Right.
She covers for her bully by saying, I've got the flu.
Yeah.
You can't say you've got the flu and then be like, but can I go to prom tomorrow night?
Right.
No.
Right.
You have the flu.
Bonkers.
It's the worst lie that you could possibly lie. But good thing for her parents don't care about her because they're like, yeah, do whatever the fuck you want.
They didn't listen to her at all.
I know.
They're like,
I know.
Get thee to a nunnery. We're going to take you to church.
Yeah.
Take you to church and make you talk about hallucinations about a dead girl. And that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
Because she then goes and is like, forgive me, Father, I've sinned. I thought sexual things about my boyfriend. I'm like, girl, same. He had nice shoulders. And then she's like, but also, I keep having hallucinations about Jess and Mary Lou, and the priest is like, shut up and get out of here, because he clearly has an exorcism to perform.
Yeah. It was, he might as well have had like a spray bottle full of holy water and just like, get out of here, get. Like you do with a cat or something.
Yeah. Meanwhile, she goes to her bedroom where we see Blucifer, the giant horse.
It's a
Blandcifer.
Paige, this is not... I was going to say White-cifer, but I think yours is better. White-cifer is like, yeah, I don't like any of this.
But yeah, she's like drawing, and she's drawing herself, and then she drops her pencil. She comes back up, and it's Mary Lou's face.
Paige.
And then also, then the horse is like
Paige.
full Denver airport, just like blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, it is tongue crazy. Can I just say this about the drawings?
Yes.
When it goes from like plain normal girl or whatever to like fully like Olin Mills glamour shot, like
of Mary Lou,
but still drawing. I was like, this is the most 80s thing I've ever, like, this is like it's like an Olin Mills glamour shots aha music video. I loved it.
Honestly, my grandma and my great aunt took glamour shots in the late 80s, early 90s, and I'm going to look through. I'm sure we have copies of those. Because, like, thinking about this, I kind of want those photos because they're nuts and I love them.
But they're nuts in such a specific way that, like, you don't get anymore because... and I think this is great, but because of like social media, people's like media literacy, maybe is the right way to say it,
right,
has gotten so much better. In the 90s, we didn't know what our angles were. You know what I'm saying?
Not at all.
And like the guy at Olin Mills was getting paid minimum wage. He wasn't a photographer, really.
No.
So like,
no, he was hitting buttons.
Yeah. Like it was, everyone was doing guesswork and everyone was guessing wrong. And it was amazing.
And it's such a good, I would kill, I have a photo shoot for something coming up and they definitely won't let me do this, but I would love to just take early 90s, late 80s, early 90s glamour shots now.
Yes.
Big hair.
Side ponytail.
Yes. In our sorority house, we had composites, which are basically like class photos, right, of everyone who was in the chapter at the time.
Yeah.
And they're huge. They're like 3 feet by 4 feet. And they were all over the walls upstairs. And they would basically keep them up for as long as they had wall space. And then they would, like, as they got a new one, they would rotate one down or whatever.
Of course, yeah.
But there was enough wall space to go back to 1989.
Wow, okay.
And like from 1989 to like 1992 were the crazy, and there were people whose hair was so big you couldn't see the background of the photo. It was just hair. It was just hair. It was so good. So great.
That's amazing.
Heroes.
Aquanet was the hero back then, Paige.
A hundo, their own personal ozone holes. But at this point, she goes home. She's home. She's dealing with Blandcifer, the horse. Prancifer.
I love it.
And Father Cooper goes to her grave and just does the, what do you want?
It's so funny. I really do. If when I die, someone please come to my grave and just whisper that to me.
I want it all. I want it all. And I want it now. Boom. Like, come on.
My headstone explodes. Old Paige hobbles out from behind a tree to hand you a map to Todd's booty.
Take this for the journey. Yes. And a lantern.
That'll be 3 bacons, please.
Play me in bacons, please. Is Canadian bacon okay? No. Because of the tariffs.
And honestly, because it's just ham.
It's just ham. Ham.
I need my ham baconed, Paige.
I need my bacon hammed. Anyway, he goes into the church and he's got like her picture surrounded by candles, like shaped like a rosary. And he's basically doing a full-blown exorcism of like, demon be gone. And then he goes back out to the graveyard and he's like, be gone. But then his Bible catches on fire and burns on the top of her grave. And it's fucked up. It's not good.
I was 100% convinced the quote Latin that this person is saying in this scene was literally just gibberish.
No.
And then I looked it up and I was like, nope, this is actually what it is.
Yeah.
And he just says it in a bonkers way. Like it doesn't even really sound like Latin at points. And then there are some words that I guess are like really close to like words now.
Yes.
And he says them just like with an American accent. And it's so funny. So it like throws you off because it's like, every third word he says very close to what an American, like English word pronunciation sounds like.
That's if you know your Latin roots, it's pretty easy to usually figure out what somebody's saying in Latin. And so I was sitting there, I was like, yeah, this is it. He's doing it bad, but like, this is it.
Yeah. Yeah. He's reading the line like someone has never heard of the concept of Latin, but like, okay, if I can just get through these first two weird looking words, I know retro is waiting for me right there. And he says it like retro. Like, it's so funny to me.
Yeah. But then he hits the like Satanus like really hard.
I know. Yeah, I know. It's great.
Anyway, we cut to the next day where Craig is working on a motorcycle and the pastor shows up and he's like, I've had a rough night. I get to talk to your dad. So he goes in to talk to his dad and he's like, I know that back in the day, we're just two guys who gushed in the same girl that you then murdered, but now we've got to work together.
Yeah, I thought it was insane that these two dudes like still talk and like team up together.
Well, yeah, like we forged a bond to keep her soul in the costume department of the school.
Honestly, I need like a prequel to explain like, hey, I know you just recently gooshed in my girlfriend and then I murdered her on stage, but can you like help me like trap her body in this collector style box?
I mean, here's what's terrible. I kind of understand the storyline of the guy being like, so I gushed at a girl and then she burned alive. So now I'm a priest. Like that made all the sense in the world.
Oh, I understood why he was like, I gotta fucking go to church. Like, what is happening?
I need Jesus. Like, oh my God. But it was wild to me that he like Boondock Saints teamed up with the other guy that murdered his girlfriend to be like, we've got to seal this soul for all eternity in this steamer trunk in the costume department of a high school.
Yeah, where no one will ever find it. Ever.
Nope. Unless they read from the Necronomicon, which we've hidden in the math books. Like, what is this movie? But then my favorite is he goes to Michael Ironside. He's like, pretty sure she's back, tried to do an exorcism, burned my Bible, ran out of candles. Like, she's back and she's going to take revenge and she won't do it on me because I'm a priest. But for you, she might be able to possess you. So take this communion now. And he's like, I ain't drinking no juice, man. Like, he's just not about it.
You got that purple stuff?
Yeah.
I don't want no juice. Give me some Sunny D.
You got that grape juice and that flavorless square of bread adjacent things.
Yeah.
But he's like, nah, get the fuck out of here. She ain't back. And he's like, oh, well.
He is like, oh, well, you're right.
Oh, well. We cut to Vicky is out at breakfast coffee with her boyfriend where she's just like, I don't know what's wrong with me. I feel like I might hurt myself, but because I don't know what's wrong with me, I'm afraid I could hurt people. I don't know. Who knows? We cut to school and Kelly is like, hey, Josh, it's me, Kelly, in the computer lab. Here to ask you, how do computer work?
And can you rig vote for me?
Can you make computer say Kelly win? Me give you $100. And he's like, we go to different parties. And in my notes, I just have LAN party.
It would have been a LAN party for sure. Have you ever played 2-player Cubert? It's awesome.
I'm really into Word Muncher right now. But she's like, I'll pay you. And he's like, here's my price. And he types on the computer. We don't see what it is. But she's like, you're fucking gross. Bye, and leaves. So he's not going to rig it for her, but we don't know what he asked for yet.
Yeah, I do want to point out that $100 is $280 today.
Ooh, hey.
I looked it up.
I mean,
I'd have done it for $280 today.
I mean, I've been working for a content creator in a writer's room, and we basically, we get paid the equivalent every time we meet, right? So anytime we meet to like present stuff, we get money.
Yeah.
And then one of the sketches we pitched got 50 million views the other day. And he was like, I need to see you guys immediately. And we were like, all right. And they're like, double the time. We're like, all right.
Yeah.
So you know what? A lot of people do a lot of stuff for $200. Just saying.
Yeah. I would definitely do this for $280.
Yep. Easy. Anyway, we cut to around school. They're like, Vicky's acting like real fucking weird. And her friend is like, hey, I found the yearbook from the year that girl burned alive. And she's like, awesome. So she just flips to the page where Mary Lou's picture is and then just goes, what do you want?
I know.
Like just into the yearbook.
What? It was so funny.
The other girl's like, the fuck are you talking to? And then she just punches Kelly. So she gets stuck in detention until 5. Now, this is actually, and we didn't really talk about it in the scene with Prancifer, but like the mirror in her room kind of comes to life. And it's a really cool effect where they're just like superimposing water over the mirror. But it looks really cool. And in detention, there's a similar scene where she gets sucked into the chalkboard and it's just a dark pool of water.
It's so good.
And it looks fucking great. It looks so good.
It really does. It's almost like, and there's a lot of effects in this movie that feel very like Nightmare on Elm Street-ish.
Yes.
And I mean that like in a fun 80s way. Like I like it. Yeah.
Yeah, because sometimes Nightmare could really, really do some great like practical effects. And this movie absolutely does it too.
I agree. Yeah. I love that chalkboard water thing. It was awesome.
But we cut to her now, once she's been sucked into the chalkboard, she is fully possessed by Mary Lou.
Yeah.
And now she's walking around in her naked body as like Mary Lou in Vicky skin. She's wearing a Vicky suit.
Yes.
We cut to, she goes to church and is like, I've got some stuff to confess and I loved every second of it. And then she just stabs him with a crucifix.
We see where later. It's down his throat. Like he's screaming and she stabs in his mouth.
Yep. But we cut to, she is dressed very different the next day. And everyone's like, the fuck's with your outfits? And she's just like, shut the fuck up. Craig is mine. And you're like, okay. All right.
She has now fully embraced her womanhood, Paige. That's like the metaphor, right? And so, of course, the movie has to then like destroy her.
Look. All I'm saying is Carrie did it better.
Absolutely.
But we cut to their science class and the science teacher's like, we take care of the chemicals and then the chemicals take care of us. And you're like, what the fuck? And he like gropes Vicky, aka Mary Lou.
Yeah, their teacher's name is Mr. Craven too, which made me sad. I'm like, this is not Wes. I don't feel like this is Wes. I don't know.
No,
but
Craven as in like the adjective.
No, I get it, but also it's a horror movie. It's Craven, and it was at the time he was like putting out bangers, you know?
Yeah. But she telekinetically turns on a Bunsen burner and burns that guy's dick.
Yeah, it's great.
But we cut to the locker room after. I don't know why they have to go to the locker room after chemistry class. Who's to say? Lots of showers at this school.
Maybe Jim was next and we just didn't see that scene.
We just didn't see it. I don't know. But her friend is like, hey, I saw what you did to the chemistry teacher. I don't know how you did it, but I know you did it. And I'm going to tell Craig about it.
Yeah.
And you need fucking help. And so then she follows her into the shower naked and starts to initiate what would seem to be a sapphic interlude.
Oh, very fun word choices there, Paige.
Thank you.
I loved it. I actually kind of find this scene super interesting.
Yes.
Because she's very naked for the next little bit.
Yes.
And they do it in this way that starts out sort of like almost softcore pornish.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
Like it's about to turn into like Hello Skinamax Prom Night goo or whatever. But it actually sort of does get scary because like as she pushes Vicky off of her, obviously Mary Lou in a Vicky suit off of her and like runs away, like you still get like Vicky following her naked, like almost sort of a vacant stare on her face.
Yeah.
And it's not like shot in a sexy way. It's just like in a very ominous sort of opposing sort of figure in like the background of the image. It's like, it is very sexualized. That's not what I'm saying. But it goes from being like sexy sexualized to like, this is kind of uncomfortable, honestly.
Yes, yes.
And I think that that's very interesting in 1987. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, and as Vicky, because the other girl hides in a locker, and as Vicky is walking past humming old music, she notices the one locker that doesn't have a lock on it and then just crushes it with her mind and body goo flies out.
Yeah, she does like, she squeezes those two lockers until like it pukes out. It's like Chef Boyardee's spaghetti that was in there.
Yes, but for a hot second, it very much sets up like, oh, is there going to be a lesbian sex? Nope. Crushed in a locker.
Yeah, completely.
Anyway, we cut to her essentially dry humping with Craig backstage in the same place that she hooked up with the preacher guy.
Yeah.
And Craig is kind of like, this is a lot. This is more than you normally. And then she goes for the dick and like grabs and hurts him. And that's when she's like, are you a F slur? And you're like, what is happening?
Yeah.
And then she telekinetically throws him against the wall, like choke smashes him against the wall. And we cut to a nightmare of Mary Lou and Craig in the backseat of a car driving away while Michael Ironside is like bloody. And then he wakes up and he's like, oh, it's just, that was a dream. But who should show up? Vicky, who has the ring. It is Mary Lou in a Vicky suit.
Yes.
And she like climbs on top of Michael Ironside and he's like, it's Mary Lou though. And she's like, Craig is so cool. What did he want to be? Basically implying that she killed his kid.
Yeah.
But won't tell him anything more about it. And now he's like, what? We gotta fucking end this bitch.
Yeah.
We cut to her riding Prancifer with her fingers in its mouth, like playing with its tongue.
It's gross, guys. It's kind of gross.
It's super gross. But
Yeah.
this is where her dad comes in and he's like, I remember when I had my first job repossessing cars and I saved all that money for a corsage and a ring. And you're like, what the fuck? And then she just comes over and starts making out with him and he kisses back and it's bad. It's not good. It's upsetting.
It's real gross. Like, and the mom comes in and like is like, what is happening? Yeah, it's
What have you done, harlot?
yeah, anyway, it's crazy. I mean, I get that like Vicky didn't necessarily choose that. That's Mary Lou.
Right.
And that's not Mary Lou's dad. So like I understand it in the story, but I did not love it.
Still don't love it.
I hated it because he like leans in. If he had been like,
Right.
no, we can't do this or whatever, like that would have been fine because I would have understood it.
Right.
This part's nuts.
Well, but then she's like, repent. And she's like, Father Cooper's busy right now because we'll find out he's dead.
Yeah, Father Cooper's dead right now.
Super dead.
Yeah.
Because she leaves. She goes to the prom. Meanwhile, Michael Ironside, while prom is happening, he'll show up at prom in a suit momentarily as if no time has passed. But meanwhile, he digs up Mary Lou and he's like, I saw her burn. I went to the funeral. She's dead. But who's in her grave? Father Cooper. And he's like, that stupid bastard. We cut to the prom. Josh has been stood up by his date who was crushed in that locker.
Yes.
And he has a corsage for her and everything, but she gone.
Yeah.
And so he's kind of upset and goes to drink in the computer lab. Monica is her name. Anyway, meanwhile, Vicky has changed the home, like the recording on her messaging at her house to be like, Vicky doesn't live here anymore, which I think implies she murdered both her parents.
I mean, yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, we meet Kelly and her date, and she's like, you've got a drinking problem. Because again, he's like 47 and he's
Yeah.
wasted away again in Margaritaville. If he had a parrot on his shoulder, it would make all the sense in the world.
I think what Paige is saying is he looked a lot like Jimmy Buffett.
He does.
Yeah.
But we cut to Billy, aka Michael Ironside, dressing up for prom in a suit. And then Craig dressing up, and he's like, he finds Craig. Craig's unconscious. Craig is like, I gotta go to Vicky. He's like, yeah, definitely. Get ready. Go to Vicky, and then just knocks him unconscious.
Yeah.
But we cut to the computer lab where we see the coolest computer fridge ever. And Kelly shows up and is like, did I win? And he's like, nah, bitch, Vicky won. And she's like, well, could you? And he's like, you knew my price. And she's like, okay, fine. Hands on the keyboard. And you realize that the price is sexual favors. Upsetting.
Yeah. It's not great, guys.
No.
No, I mean, it's not great because it literally melts his face here in a second.
Oh, yeah. In just a second. Meanwhile, Billy, a.k.a. Michael Ironside, has a gun and is climbing up the catwalk, just waiting for them to name a winner.
On the catwalk, yeah. He's
Yes.
like gonna shoot her in the chest from the catwalk, guys.
Yes. He's a model, you know what I mean. And he shoots his little gun from the catwalk.
Why are all famous assassins models, Paige?
Oh, I don't know. But, Jason Statham maybe set the bar a little too high.
John Wilkes Booth, Zoolander, Michael Ironside, Right Said Fred, whoever. Yeah.
Yeah, all of them. Meanwhile, Kelly gets back to the prom and her date is like, what are those mints? Your breath smells great, and goes in for a kiss. And she's like, no. Oh, let's dance. And you're like, oh, no, Kelly.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, in the computer lab, he goes to try and adjust it so that it says that Kelly won. But no, because apparently Vicky/Mary Lou is telepathically controlling the computer. And so she like melts his face and it says the winner is Vicky Carpenter.
Yep.
And I'd be mad if I was Kelly for sure. Kelly does seem upset.
I mean, she did work the hardest for it, I'd say. Like I would understand why she would be disappointed.
Right?
Yeah.
She did all that campaigning, you know.
Yeah.
But Michael Ironside's up there and I was like, is he going to burn her alive again? But no, it's a gun. But Craig gets there because he woke up just in time to try and stop this from happening. Too late. Vicky goes up and she's like, oh my God, yes. But then Michael Ironside fucking shot her.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God. And I was like, is she going to die? But then she's like, ugh. And then she literally, a burned Mary Lou chest bursters out of the Vicky suit.
Yes.
And gets electrocuted with lightning, which seems to bring her back Lisa Frankenstein style.
Yes, it does.
Right?
It's amazing.
She tries to kill Craig. Michael Ironside falls. But eventually he gets the crown. And as she's trying to like drag Craig into the like chest and everything, and maybe a furnace, like she chases him down. She's trying to drag him into the chest. Michael Ironside's like, I've got the thing that you want, and gives her the crown.
You know how women just want a tiara, guys. That's all they want.
Not gonna lie, I own many.
Well, thanks for like, that thing's gonna like completely cut the legs out of my ironic joke because you actually do have a lot.
Look, I'm just saying you can be a boss ass bitch who is also a hardcore feminist and likes some sparkle, okay?
Yeah, sparkle up.
Sparkle up, sparkle up. And sometimes if you're a ghost, you know, maybe a tiara will make you feel better about being a ghost.
Not to quote Matthew McConaughey from his masterpiece, How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, but frost yourself, ladies.
Frost yourselves. Anyway, Michael Ironside puts a crown on her. We get like a flashback of them dancing as if she had not died and been burnt to death at prom.
Yeah.
And it seems like her spirit goes back to hell. But then Vicky shows up and she's like alive and goopy. And you're like, what is happening? And Michael Ironside is like, hey, you know what? Great. I'm glad you guys are both alive. Cool. They get in the backseat of a limo. And Michael Ironside turns around and he's Mary Lou.
Yes.
And he's like, let's cruise. And then the limo drives away and says, Mary Lou 2. And that's the movie.
So, Paige, having seen the movie, having talked about the movie, what did you think about Hello, Mary Lou, Prom Night 2?
Oh, no notes. Perfect. Actually, I mean, I would say I prefer Carrie, but this is very fun. Like, if you're looking for a fun bonkers movie you want to watch.
I feel like this is a different movie completely than Carrie. I mean, in the sense that, like, this is the scary movie to Scream.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Yes.
And I love both of those movies. Like, Scream is awesome. It's great. And Scary Movie's also sort of awesome and great in a weird sort of doesn't hold up great 90s way. But, like, I feel like that about this. Like, yeah, of course, Carrie did it better and first, but this is such a fun look at that, you know?
Right.
It was a fun sort of parody movie for me, and I loved it. I really got into it.
Yes. Yeah.
Although I think if I saw this first and maybe like before I had seen so many of the other movies it pulls from, I probably wouldn't have liked this as much, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. But I really like it for like, I don't know, and maybe this isn't why they did it, but it feels like they tried to include sort of everything they loved about horror in this movie.
Right.
And I like that. I like that it feels that way. And I hope that's the reason they did it. But anyway, do you have any fun facts for us?
I do.
Well, hit us with your fun facts.
Prom Night,
fun facts.
The phone number Mary Lou writes on the confessional booth for a good time call was actually screenwriter Ron Oliver's home phone number at the time.
What?
No one called. Almost every character in the film shares a last name with a cult film director.
Yes.
Craven, King, Romero, Browning, Dante Carpenter. She's Vicky Carpenter.
Yeah.
John Waters and Frank Henenlotter. It's Kelly Henenlotter. This was written and filmed as The Haunting of Hamilton High.
Okay.
So not a prom night movie at all. The title was changed to Hello, Mary Lou, Prom Night 2 by the Samuel Goldwyn Company, who purchased it and decided to market it as a sequel. The similarities to Prom Night, such as the name of the school, Hamilton High, and the line, it's not who you go with, it's who takes you home, were entirely coincidental.
What?
Yes.
Amazing.
Yep. They did have to do some reshoots, though. And Ron Oliver, first-time director, called Wes Craven for some advice on directing a teen horror film. And Wes Craven said, quote, give them a scare, give them a hard-on, send them home. Which honestly...
I mean, it is the formula that worked for him for the majority of the 80s. So I can't blame him for saying it that way. Yeah.
Nope. This film did not have many positive reviews. One positive review came from the LA Times, and they called it, quote, the blue velvet of high school horror movies.
Wow.
Which is a wild thing to say about this movie, but not entirely wrong.
That's fair.
Yep. After filming was completed, the executive producer on the film decided that it didn't work and hired screenwriter Ron Oliver to rewrite and reshoot several sequences for 1 week and $100,000. Including the locker room death scene and the rocking horse with the tongue and the chalkboard whirlpool. So all of those are additions later on.
Okay. And man, all of those are good. And like, especially that chalkboard water, like pool scene, so good.
Yep.
I'm so glad that they did that.
They did do some things to the high school. It's actually a junior high school where this was filmed, including painting some of the windows black in the library. And those actually remained at the junior high school until they were replaced in 2001.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Okay, cool.
Now, the original director before Ron Oliver came in, Bruce Pittman, has said in an interview that the scene with the two actresses walking around nude was entirely gratuitous. The script had them in towels, but he felt it would have more impact if they were naked. The actresses were hesitant, but agreed that if they shot them from the back and side, and then she could wear a towel while being chased.
And she does. I mean, that is the way it is positioned for the majority of it. Although Vicky is naked like almost the entire time and is not shot just from the back.
No, and it took 2 full days of shots of them nude to shoot those scenes.
That's a lot of time to be naked in front of a lot of people. Character of Kelly is drinking Diet Pepsi in almost every single scene in the movie. I noticed that because you rarely see like actual brands in like movies and TV and stuff. And so when you do, you're like, oh man, interesting, cool.
Yep. Okay, so Steve Atkinson is the name of the actor who played young Bill Nordham, a.k.a. young Michael Ironside, and they do kind of look alike, so much so that they also played young and old again 2 years later in the movie Minefield.
Okay. I love that the director was like, hey, get the old and young version of this dude from Prom Night 2. That movie's it's a banger.
Yeah.
I love that movie.
Both Wendy Lyon and Terry Hawkes, who played Vicky and Kelly respectively, voiced characters for the English dub of Sailor Moon.
What? Really awesome.
Now, if you want to hear more about this movie and you also listen to how did this get made, they covered this on episode 212 with guests Seth Rogen and Charlize Theron.
Oh my God. I bet that's insane.
Normally I don't bring it up, but I'm like, that's an insane guess. That is crazy. And this movie has a body count of 7. And those are your fun facts.
Well, thank you for those fun facts, Paige. Let's talk a little bit about box office. So what do you think the production budget was for Hello, Mary Lou, Prom Night 2?
Couple of nickels. This probably cost about $2 million, especially considering reshoots.
So I kind of love this because it's actually 2.5 million Canadian dollars.
Canadian!
Which, if you convert to US dollars, is like $1.75 million.
So I was close either way.
Yeah. And again, in 1987 is when we're talking about. So now that's almost $5 million if you convert it from $87 to today dollars. I don't have a lot of box office information, but it did come out the weekend of October 16th, again, 1987. And it was 10th in the theaters that weekend.
Okay.
It was beat by Fatal Attraction was number 1.
Of course.
Like Father, Like Son was number 2. Number 3 was The Princess Bride. Number 4 was Somebody to Watch Over Me. And number 5 was Dirty Dancing. Like, there were a lot of bangers in the theaters. And honestly, this was only released in 343 theaters. So it wasn't like a nationwide release even.
Yeah.
And it was still in the top 10. It was 10. But what do you think it made in its opening weekend, Paige?
Ooh, opening weekend, if it was 10th, I bet this made about $500,000.
It did a little bit better. It made $911,000.
Canadian or regular?
No, it's US dollars.
Okay.
That's US dollars. Although, fair question, which is not its budget back though, right? right?
No.
So it didn't make its budget back in theaters, but I'm sure it's gone on to make its budget back in
Of course.
the many iterations of like VHS and Betamax and then DVD
Laser
and
disc
Blu-ray and whatever. Yeah. So I'm sure it's made money now. And it is very much a cult classic that is very beloved. So
Yes.
I'm sure they're doing fine. But that's your box office. Paige, do you want to hit us with that scary scale?
Sure. Our scary scale is a scale of 1 to 10 of how scary we found the movie today, with 1 being Ghostbusters and 10 being Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Todd.
I'm going to give it a 1, although that one jump scare it did get me, but it wasn't super scary.
The one where she pops up in the door.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a 1 for me as well, but it's a 10 on the fun scale.
It is. I really do love this one.
And that's your scary scale.
Yeah. So, Paige, this week you made us watch Hello, Mary Lou Prom Night 2. What are you making us watch next week?
I'm not. The listeners are.
That's right, Paige. The listeners get to pick next week's episode, and in their infinite wisdom, they whittled their final sequel movies to the following 4. It was Scream 6, Insidious 3, Exorcist 3, and Final Destination 3, all of which are multiples of 3, but the movie that won is Final Destination 3. So that is your homework for the next week, as we continue and honestly close out sequel month with what I'm hoping is a bonkers Final Destination sequel.
And hey, Todd, do you have any reviews for us?
I do. This week, I'm going to read a Spotify comment off of our most recent episode. That episode being the Smile 2 episode, which we got a lot of comments about. I was a little surprised that we got that many comments on this one, but I'm going to read this one, although a lot of people mentioned this moment in the episode, and it was also one of my favorite. But this comment comes in from Ella, and they say, "My favorite part of the podcast is when Todd passionately monologues while Paige sings, and it syncs up perfectly." I don't know if you remember doing that, but it was hilarious. Yeah,
I do. I don't remember which song, but I do remember doing it.
we listened back when I was listening back to it after Natalie edited it. That was the part that made me laugh the most. Anyway, Ella, thank you so much for that comment. And if you want to have me read your 5-star Apple review or Spotify comment, leave us one of those things, and I'll do just that. So, guys, if you like this show but want to hear Paige and I talk about romantic comedies or just regular romantic movies, check out our other podcast, some might call it a sister podcast, called Romancing the Pod, where we do just that weekly. It's a lot like this show, but for romance and romantic comedies, because Paige doesn't like them. So we make her watch them, just like you guys make me watch horror over here. But if you want to follow me, I am at Todd J. Awesome on all the social media. Paige is at Rampage Wesley on Instagram?
Yes, and TikTok.
And just Paige Wesley on Twitter, because you got that before some CEO lady and she wanted it, but you wouldn't give it back, and I respect you for that.
Refuse.
Also, Paige
Suck it, other Paige Wesley.
Paige is also on another podcast. It's great. You should check it out. It's called Cult Podcast with Armando Torres, who is a wonderful person. And if you want to support this show, go to Patreon at patreon.com/horrorvirgin, where there are a lot of great levels and a lot of great things. We do the Patreon shout outs at the beginning of every episode. We do listener requests, stuff like that, bonus episodes. So you'll be getting all of that content, plus episodes a day early with no ads, and who doesn't love that? So sign up for the Patreon and get a lot of great stuff.
And that's going to be it for us, you guys. I'm Paige.
And I'm your horror virgin, Todd.
Keep it oogie spooky.
Yeah. Have an amazing week, guys. Bye. I can't wait for Mary Lou 3 or Prom Night 3, I guess. I can't wait.